I think I had mentioned it to you when we were talking on the phone, when I had called you to see if you wanted to do the show. But do you remember back, maybe you won't, but he and I seem to remember a lot of the same things together here. Do you remember back when the open classroom concept was kind of the big thing of the day?
Yep.
And, I mean, schools were being built around that with no walls, so that, you know, if little Johnny felt like doing spelling at a certain time of day, he could wander over into the spelling area or what have you. And I don't know nationwide, I truly do not, but the area that I was in at the time in Massachusetts and so on, it was an abject failure, and almost every one of those school buildings had to be either replaced or totally rebuilt when they went back to the traditional classroom structure. Do you kind of, I mean, in a way, and again, you know, it's, my kids are out of school, so I'm not facing some of the issues that you all are facing, but doesn't it kind of seem like there might be some similarities?
It does on the constructivism side of things. I can see that as the latest, greatest new approach. I think we need to make sure that the audience understands that while IB uses constructivism, that's not the only way that you can get constructivism in your classroom. Almost every, while that is now the method that the State Board of Education has deemed to be the path we're on, I can object to that as well, but that really is a separate issue from IB. IB uses it, but that's not the reason that I think we need to look at IB because of their constructivism. I think we need to look at it for the other reasons that we brought up.
Well, you know, the security one, I have to go back to that a little bit. Now, you have kids in those age groups. Is that a concern to you, that whole security thing? That
you know, until recently, I didn't
now
think
that I brought it up for you.
Right. I mean, I know that I did find out fairly recently that name and date of birth definitely go out outside the country. I don't know entirely if you sign up, for example, for the entire IB diploma program. What does that mean? Do they know everything? Do they know your address? What, you know, eye color? I don't know what they you know, what they share outside the country. I don't have any answers on that, but yeah, it's definitely
probably
concerning.
have questions, so.
It's definitely concerning, particularly when you know, I think the more you dig into the IBO website, and the more you realize that this is very clearly, you know, they're not fans of of America. I'm not that interested in having my children's data.
Well, I think that does seem to be a burr for a lot of people.
They take no
responsibility
if that information gets out too. If you read their policy,
they don't take responsibility?
No, they take no responsibility. They take no responsibility with, you know, they'll govern your school, but if something doesn't work, if your child's not learning, they take no responsibility for that. You know, part of this, you know, this bill is all about the governing, the way I see it. I think there's the study committee which wants to look at everything. Then you have the governance factor, that IB governs the public school system when it comes into your school, which, you know, Representative Hill had mentioned that it's giving away local control. You know, one of the things that they do is they will investigate the teachers. If a teacher is deemed to have been acting improperly, the IB organization investigates the teacher. And improper conduct, as they list it, could mean the teacher gave extra time on an exam. Not talking about, you know, something that, you know, might, so, you know, I want to be clear about what they consider improper. That's according to their own documentation. So, you know, there's these governing factors that happen when you sign on with IB, that you give up that local control. I looked at this bill, I read it, and I think everybody in Bedford should read the bill, read the amendment as it's been presented. Because when I went through it, when I read it, I just thought, I don't see anything you can object to. If you want IB in the school, now maybe Representative Hill can address this, get rid of the governing factor. Go back to IB and say, look, you know, Montessori, for instance, is a good example. If you want Montessori in your school, you pick and choose, and they don't govern your school. And they even warn parents on their website, you know, make sure it's an authentic Montessori. Maybe you know, you have to do your homework, but they don't govern your school. You don't have to go to Switzerland if you have a problem. If Bedford wants IB, maybe the approach should be, let's tell them no contracts. You're not going to govern our school. We're going to pick the good aspects, the stuff that maybe the community agrees with, and we're going to govern the schools, not you. So, you know, there's different ways to look at this. That's how I looked at it. I thought, you know, if people really like the, you know, maybe there's some good to it. Maybe we can draw some good out of it and use those. But right now, when you sign on, you have to do it their way, and they have to govern it. And I think instead of us following IB, maybe we need to say, look, we're going to do it our way. This is a local issue. This is, you know, we want aspects of this program, maybe the whole program, but we're going to do it our way. We don't want you to govern our schools.
And I think you would get a lot of wide support for that in Bedford. Well, as you can see, we are just about out of time, and you're all very passionate on the issue, and I wouldn't be surprised if we'll do another show on it, because regardless of where the legislation goes in the next few weeks, I don't think the issue is going to go away. So I hope you'd all be willing to come back and talk some more. And as you can see, we are just about out of time. I would say to all of you, and I'm sure everybody here would agree, if you have strong feelings, call your legislators, contact the members of the Senate Education Committee. And I want to thank all of you for being here, and about all I can do is